Hello guys, Sorin here. Welcome back to our next video and next lecture from this series regarding on how to create webinars and how to use them in your business. Now I want to talk to you about how to prepare your audience for a webinar. This is a very important part in having a successful and running a successful webinar, the part of preparation. Okay, now let's dive into the actual principles that you need to follow in order to conduct a very good preparation for your webinar, and in order for you to be sure that you have a high appearance of the registrants in the actual webinar. Okay, now first of all, if you use a paid platform like GoToWebinar or Webinar Jam, you already have things set up so that you are sure that a lot of the number that will register for the webinar will actually show up at the webinar. Okay, a lot of the people that are actually registering, for example, you have a webinar next week and people register today, you will have things set up. Okay, so they will get reminders and everything, and you will have a high percentage of the people that were registered actually appearing in the webinar. Now the second thing is that if you do not have a paid platform, and we will practically talk in this course and in this series about how to create your own free webinar page, so you won't use a paid platform like GoToWebinar or Webinar Jam. If this happens, okay, you need to have a landing page or a registration form. You need to have these things set up where people can register for the webinar. After that, you need to have built an email sequence that is sent to people who registered, so they are all the time reminded of your webinar. Because if you are promoting a webinar, okay, maybe you promote it like 5 days ahead, and you need to remind people that registered in the first day, in the second day, in the third day, okay, that they will participate at the webinar on a certain date. Okay, they need to be remembered because people are all the time busy and they will forget. I can assure you of that. Okay, now in your email reminders, so you need to set up a sequence of emails that you will send to these people that registered for your webinar. In these email reminders, in this sequence, you need to include different benefits of the webinar. So you need to build anticipation for the webinar. You can give out some tips if you can regarding the subject that you will approach in the webinar. This will not just practically remind them of the webinar and why they should participate to the webinar, so they will practically build anticipation, but they will also help you build credibility and authority just actually before starting the webinar, okay, which is actually pretty cool. Okay, then the next thing that you should do is it would be recommended not to promote your webinar with more than 7 to 10 days ahead, as you will lose a large part of the early registrants. Just think about it, you being in the shoes, okay, of someone that registered for a webinar that will be after 2 weeks. You will probably forget 2 weeks from now that you registered for a webinar, or other things appear, okay, in your life, and you will not be able to participate. And that happens for most of the people. So if you have a large time frame, okay, in which you promote the webinar, you lose a large part of your audience, because that's how life is. Okay, things get busy. In the day of the webinar, you should have at least 2 or 3 email reminders sent to the registrants for the webinar. And the last one should be when the webinar actually starts. Okay, that way practically it's like a last call, okay, a last attempt from you to remind everybody that the webinar will start that day, okay, that they should not make any program and that they should be on that call. And for example, a very nice technique that a lot of marketers are using is to offer to people that are staying from the beginning till the end of the webinar a big bonus at the end, maybe something that they can download, okay, a mind map or something like that. You can think about something like that to create for your audience. Now, if you have a big social following, be sure to post on your pages and profiles reminders for people to participate to the webinar. Again, tips that are practically are somehow regarding the subject that you will approach in the webinar, okay, why they should participate to the webinars and other things like that, so you can increase your attendees rate. Now, An optional thing that you can do, and some of the people that are conducting webinars on the web right now are doing, and practically a lot of them are doing this successfully, is that they use retargeting, for example on Facebook, but you can use retargeting also on Google and other ad platforms. But they are using retargeting on Facebook to remind their registrants to participate to the webinar. And this is something that you can do optional, because you already remind them through the email sequence that you have created. But an example of how you can do that is that, for example, with 2 days before the actual webinar, you can start promoting an ad to the people that registered for the webinar, in which you remind them to participate at the webinar. Hey, tomorrow we have the webinar, don't forget to be there on time, I have a big surprise for you, or something like that. Okay, so these are things that you need to do in order for your webinar to have a high attendee rate, because this is this part of preparation is very, very important. I didn't told you before, but the average rate that, for example, the Click Meeting platform has seen for people that are using their platform to create webinars is about 27-28 people per webinar. Most successful webinars have somewhere at 300, 400, 500 people on in the same time, and some of the best in the world go up to 1,000 people in the same time. Okay, if you go up from there, from 1,000, you are actually a very, very good marketer, okay, and someone who's probably very, very famous and conducting a webinar, and you are actually doing like more like a TV show or live streaming than a webinar if you go past this number, okay, more than 1,000 people. But the average rate is somewhere at 27-28 people. Obviously, ideal for you is to have probably somewhere between 80 and 100 people, because you can interact more with them, okay, you can talk more with them. If you have more than that, very likely you won't be able to interact as you would like with them. So these were all my recommendations of how to prepare for a webinar. I think these things will help you to have a high attendance rate to your webinar, and to practically build just before starting the webinar your credibility and authority in front of your audience. Now guys, thank you very much for your attention. I hope this was helpful for you, and I will see you in our next videos. Bye bye for now. Good luck to you. Sorin. Hello guys, Sorin here. Welcome back to our next video from our course on how to create amazing webinars for free. I've told you in the past video that we will talk more about this technique of creating your own free webinar page, okay, using everything for free, obviously, because as we have talked already in the beginning, when you are starting something, you need to invest your money in the things that bring the most value to your business, okay. Now I call this the 8 steps technique, okay, for creating free amazing webinars. And let's start with the first step. The first step is to create a Google account. As you have seen, we are using the Google Hangouts tool, okay, to practically create this free webinar page. So first of all, you need to create a Google account or log into your actual account if you have one. If you already have a Google account, you probably know already that you also have a YouTube account. You also have access to Google Drive and everything that Google actually has, all the apps that Google has at our disposal for using, okay. Then you need to create an account on a free website builder, and an example for that, it's Wix.com, and I will show you exactly in a future video how to use that. Then you need to enter into your Google Hangouts account, okay. You just type in Google Hangouts on Google while already being logged into your account. The Google Hangouts will appear. You enter Google Hangouts and you schedule a Google Live Hangout. So not a normal Google Hangout. You need to schedule a Google Live Hangout, okay? Then you copy. You will see that you have some distribution links there, okay? Or share the Google Hangout, and you will have more options. Throughout these options, you will also have a YouTube link or an embedment code for your Hangout. Enter. After that, the step number 5 is to enter on your Wix website, okay, page that you have created. You insert the YouTube code video or embedment code for your Google Live Hangout there on your page, wherever you want the video to appear, okay, the actual webinar to appear on the page. You can add different plugins there, like a chat box or like Facebook comments to that page if you want to, and I will show you an example for that. Then you can create a free email marketing service account. Actually, if you want to have the whole package with registration forms, landing page, reminders for your webinar, you need to create a free email marketing service. You can use MailChimp, okay, in that purpose. And after you create this email marketing account at MailChimp, for example, you can create a registration form for your webinar, and you can set up an autoresponder sequence or emails to send to the people that register to participate at your webinar. Okay, and that's about it. This is the 8 steps technique. So I think it's pretty simple. Till now, I think you understand the concept, but you actually need to see it in practice, and that's what we will do in our next video, guys. Now, some recommendations before going on with the examples and before showing you exactly how to use this technique. Some recommendation: use this technique when you are just starting out to save money and bootstrap. So if you are already at a level where you can afford to spend like $80 per month, okay, to use GoToMeeting or ClickWebinar or anything like that, any service like that, spend the money on that, okay, because it's more professional. You can make it look very professional, okay. You can use this method also to have a very professional presence, but probably in order to do that you will need some some freelancers, some designers, okay, to create special pages for you, to integrate Google Hangouts with different apps and other things like that that you don't know, okay, but a professional developer knows or a designer knows, and you will still need to spend money on that. So it's much easier for you to go to Click-to-Webinar or to go to GoToWebinar or Webinar Jam or other platforms if you have the money for that, okay. So obviously, even if you do it, okay, even if you make it look professional, you won't still have some of all the features that paid platform has, okay. Now, you can save up with this method. You can save up to over $1,000 per year if you make the calculations, okay. As you have seen from the prices comparison, I've shown you a comparison based on 100 attendees. Probably if you go from over 200 or 500, the prices will go up much more, and you will end up maybe paying even $2, $3, or even $4,000 per year. With this method, you actually end up paying nothing, okay. You just take some of your time in the beginning to design everything, and then it works for itself, okay. So these are my recommendations. Now guys, thank you very much for your attention, and in the next videos I will show you exactly how to set up this technique from the beginning to the end, okay. Thank you very much for your attention again. Bye bye for now. Sorin here.